Welcome back. This is Masati. Kind of crazy. A lot of things happening today. Technical issues. Alex is not doing it, so I'm doing all the back end work. So it might be a little sketchy here, but hopefully it'll all work out. The content's really fantastic. So today we're going to be talking about the future of human evolution. A lot of great comments already. It's quite amazing. Again, we've got so much to talk about on, say, the future of evolution. That, well, I've got a list of things that we can talk about on top that coincide with the future of human evolution and what's going on. All right, babe. So that was Feifei with me diagnosing the issues. Again, welcome. And again, I'm doing this all on my own, so just give me 1 second. All right, so we've got the dire wolf, we've got Andrew Tate, we've got him saying children are a king's job is children, or children is of a king's job. And then, we've got the tariffs, we've got and then we've got the acceleration of human evolution, right? So again, a lot of things happening for us, and they're all interrelated, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because the world is really falling apart, and that's a cool thing. It's falling apart for a specific reason. Okay, all right. So let's go ahead, take a breath in. We'll make this an experiential show. First, we'll start with the fatal flaw. Let's see if I can pull that up for you, pull that slide up for you. We get to see the dire wolf, okay, and the fatal flaw behind de-extinction mythologies. It's not really a flaw, but it's something that they really need to work on. So the fatal flaw in de-extinction science is that you can't reboot a species without its operating system. And that's really key, and that's what we're going to be talking about on this Masati on Sunday. All right, so again, today's topic sounds like science fiction, but, it's happening right now. Science has just announced they brought back the dire wolf. It's an apex predator that's been probably extinct from anywhere from, say, 9 to 25,000 years ago. They cloned wolf pups with edited genes to look like dire wolves. So they called it a breakthrough. The media called it the future. But here's what, I think that here's what XI Metascience sees. They brought back the body, but they didn't bring back the being. They didn't bring back the essence. And that right there is the fatal flaw in all de-extinction science. Again, I'm not saying it's a bad science. I'm not saying it's a good science, but in today's world, you can't do things half-assed, and that's what XI Metascience is about. Getting the part that they got wrong. And by the way, I'm going to be doing a podcast called From Good to Great to Limitless. What they got wrong, what they got right, and what we can learn so we can move on, so we don't repeat the same thing over and over again. Again, half-assed. No matter what arena that we've got into, right? Science, religion, food, our food systems, holy shit, relationships, everything that we're doing is literally half off. All right, so let's break that down. So when a species goes extinct, it doesn't just like lose physical form, it loses its consciousness field. Okay, so think of it this way. You have a program, or what we call your genetics, at this level, the physical level, okay? That's in your body. That DNA connects to a consciousness above it, okay? Now, humans are a little different. That's because we have free will, but not going to get into that, maybe some other time. But what happens is that let's just call it a frequency DNA, and that frequency DNA connects to the natural intelligence, or if you want to call it God, that connects it to all source. So you have natural intelligence, you have that frequency DNA that is not there in a dire wolf, because when species go extinct, Yeah, it's because it could be because of, food loss, or, hunting areas and all that area. It could be because of devastation here on Earth. Sure, that's totally cool. But the reason why things go extinct is at a higher level. It's like, hey, you know what? We need to bring a better version of that species into form, so it eliminates that previous version. Takes about 10,000 or so years and brings back another version. Humans have gone through the same space, by the way. Humans have, again, gone extinct, gotten a better version. It's just like a reset. You shut down everything, you reboot, and then you pick up, you fix the program, and then you display it back in this consciousness. Okay? So again, that consciousness is not stored in DNA. It's not in the bones of the blood. It's in the timeless intelligence that allowed that species to render itself into reality. That's really the key. So in XI, we call that temporal consciousness rendering, the process by which a being creates itself through time, space, and frequency. Again, it's very different than humans, because humans have, well, access to that temporal consciousness. We're just not using it very well. Hence, this is where XI goes, hey, we can program that temporal consciousness because we've got free will. Dire wills and other animals, they do not have that connection. So what happens when you clone an extinct animal? You recreate the hardware, but the software, the operating system, is gone. It's gone. You made something that looks right, the jaw structure and everything like that, but it doesn't know how to be what it's pretending to be. So there's going to be a lot of issues as that thing grows up. Right now, it's eliciting like it doesn't understand man. It won't connect to men, and it won't associate with men as readily as, say, gray wolves will, because back then there wasn't a lot of, say, humans around. So as you look at that dire wolf, I mean, they're cute and fuzzy, right? The dire wolf wasn't just about its size or teeth. It was a predator built for a very specific world, the Ice Age prey, harsh environments, evolutionary, again, instincts, and by millions of years of survival, its mind was forged into that context. Well, those conditions no longer exist, so neither does that frequency of awareness. So even if you match 99% of its DNA, the 1% that you're missing is the part that made it alive in time. Okay? So imagine cloning a baby from the 1920s and dropping them into 2025. Okay? Same biology, same body, same everything. But the way they think, the way they relate to the world, very different. They're running a completely different consciousness operating system. They won't understand smartphones, memes, AI, or cryptocurrency. Not because they're dumb, but because they just don't have, say, the right mindset, the right operating system. Okay? So again, dire wolves, they haven't existed in thousands of years. You can't just hit Control plus Z or on extinction and then turn it back on. So because extinction, it's not about biology, it's about losing the source connection that gave that being its place in time. Okay? So just like that baby, have you noticed in today's generation, you give a kid an iPad, that kid naturally attunes to it, right? Okay, that's what I'm talking about. That baby from the 1920s, you give it, again, just as intelligent, all that, and it's like, what's this? They won't understand what an iPad is, because in their consciousness, no iPads existed. So that's where, say, generational patterns go up to, say, the mastermind, and then it comes down to prepare the next generation for the tech that's coming to be. Okay, pretty crazy stuff. It goes pretty deep. All right. So in XI Metascience, we teach that life is rendered, not remembered. That's really the key. Again, DNA is just an instruction set, but it doesn't tell you the whole story. You need the operating system, the original consciousness field that gave the being its instinct, awareness, and presence in the lifetime. And when that operating system is gone, again, you're reviving a creature. You're not really reviving a creature, you're simulating it. You're not resurrecting life, you're taxidermying it with a pulse. Simple as that. So here's a real question. Are we trying to bring species back because we can, or because we refuse to face the grief of letting go? Because if we were truly aligned with evolution, we'd stop trying to recreate the past and start learning how to evolve consciousness forward, not just for animals, but for ourselves. At XI, we don't just study biology, we study how beings render reality. Again, way before this, the biology of what made you here, the frequency biology, let's just call it. Okay, so that's why we say you can't reboot a species or a human without restoring its OS. So if you want to create the future, don't look backwards, guys. Upgrade your consciousness, align with source frequency, and render what's never existed before. Because, well, that is what true evolution looks like. So are you running the latest version of your consciousness, or are you stuck in an older operating system trying to reboot from the past? Maybe your parents, maybe a previous lifetime. Think about it. Again, temporal consciousness, guys. All right, so we'll move on. Again, a lot of things, and this is what gets me next, guys. Andrew Tate. Again, I wish Alex was here to run all the systems behind. It takes a lot to get this show. So thanks for subscribing, guys. Highly recommend subscribing. If you haven't, subscribe to the channel, like the channel, guys, so we can produce more free content to help you evolve properly. Okay. All right. So Andrew Tate. Let me queue up this. Let me queue up this page here. It's crazy. Okay, it is really crazy. Just give me 1 second here. Let's see here. Not working. All right. So, just give me 1 second, guys. Man, everything is working until you start to... Let me see if this is the right clip. All right. So, Andrew Tate. So you guys all know who Andrew Tate is, right? Damn. It's not working here. Give me 1 second. Crazy, crazy stuff, guys. All right. So I wanted to show you the Andrew Tate clip, and maybe I can just put it in the chat for you, or maybe I really can't put it in the chat, but Fefe, you can listen to it, and then can you put that in the chat for me, please? It's just not working out here. All right. It's basically that clip that you sent me, Faye. All right. All right. So, so this is crazy, and I wish it was working, but I'll send you the clip so you can take a look at it. Really, really crazy what he was saying, literally pulling back humanity. Okay. So what he was saying was literally that, I'll just paraphrase. Okay. What he was saying is that, I can't even explain it. So what he was saying, that he was on an interview, and he goes, well, your daughter, right? Your daughter she's 21 years old, and she gets connected to an older man. Okay, an older man, and again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool. But and then she gets married 5 years later. She's got 2 kids, and then she finds out that he's got some women on the side, right? About 4 or 5 women on the side, and then it's like, how would you handle that? Okay, and this is what Andrew Tate said. It's like, well, if he's providing, and I'll go into it a little deeper, but if he's providing, okay, if he's providing for you, I would just tell her just to be happy. I mean, Andrew, that's fucking crazy. Okay, so I mean, it's just the craziest thing, and then people call that actually leadership. You know, that's called leadership or evolution. Again, you can't do that. You have to follow a real man. Okay, so let's talk about leadership and Andrew Tate. What he says again. So, if his daughter married a 50-year-old man at 21, and that man cheated on her with a few women on the side, she should stay. And here's the reason why. Why? Because he provides, he protects. It doesn't work out that way. It just doesn't work out that way. Because, you know, he's paying the bills. And again, it just... Sorry, guys, I'm just having some issues. Again, just because he's paying the bills, okay, if that's your definition of leadership, you're not a leader. You're actually a liability. And if that's your standard for masculinity, well, you know, I suggest you unsubscribe from Andrew Tate and then start following a real man. Me. Let's just break this down. Okay? This isn't alpha. This isn't trad values. This isn't historical dysfunction. This is historical dysfunction on repeat. And worse, it's weak men. Literally, it is weak men idolizing dead kings because they've got no idea how to build an empire within. You know, Tate says that he'd be proud of that kind of arrangement, proud that his daughter would be financially secure under a man, well, who lacks actually basic discipline, well, just to keep his pants on. Okay? So let me make this painfully clear for you, Andrew. If your wealth buys you excuses, you're not powerful. You really aren't. You're not powerful at all. You're just protected by your wallet. Right? So, but this is the new, what would they call it? The bro code. You know, you provide, you protect, and then you betray. And then you call it masculinity. Again, that's not how it works. Real men don't need to cheat to prove they can. They lead because they've mastered themselves. And that kind of man, they just don't pay for women. They activate her, right? So, and then you got the flip side. To the women who fall for this, right? I think they call them gold diggers. At least that's what they did back in the day, right? The ones who think being kept is a privilege, right? How good has that turned out for you all? You're not wrong for wanting safety though. You're just aiming too low. So you want a provider, which is totally cool, but you know, don't call it a relationship if you're just the prize at the end of the paycheck. Don't cry betrayal if you handed him permission the moment he covered your rent, right? What you basically did is you signed up for a cage, then blamed the zookeeper. So again, to the men still following this ideology, you know, you want to be respected, okay? Stop idolizing men who are rich but soulless, loud but hollow, dominant yet completely out of control. You want to be powerful, right? Stop copying blueprints of boys who never evolved past their daddy issues. And you want to lead, then follow somebody who doesn't dominate. Follow a man who doesn't dominate. He elevates. Think of it. Follow a man who holds his frequency in a room full of temptation without collapsing. Follow a man who builds queens and not collects concubines to prop up his ego. Follow a man who doesn't have to flex wealth to command presence. Right? Again, follow that kind of guy. Get into XI, guys. Again, I'm not here to teach you how to seduce women, guys. I'm here to show you how to seduce your own future. And once you can do that, once you can master your timeline, your biology, your truth, it's amazing what will get attracted to you. Again, I don't brag about how many women I can get because the force I've become through XI is one that women naturally rise beside. I mean, look at Faye. So it's not a game, guys. This is gravity. You gotta turn into who you want to attract, right? So you've tried the hustle, you've tried the bravado, you've tried buying your way into power. And what did it get you? Now try and become so aligned you can bend time. Think of it. So aligned you can bend time. You're so present, your very cells begin to regenerate. So clear, you're just that you are what women evolve, just women around you just evolve just by being next to you. Not because you ask them to submit, but because you show them what's possible. That's not alpha, that's divine masculine. Right? So again, I ask you, here's the question. Are you ready to upgrade? Again, so stop following guys like Andrew Tate. The younger generation, again, stop following people like that. They'll mess you up. It didn't work for those kings, those leaders, those CEOs who did all that. It did not work for them. Why bring back the past? Again, this is this is evolution, guys. We're going backwards in all ways. Do you guys see how we're all reconnecting, going back to the same old crap? It's crazy, crazy stuff, right? All right. Let's see if this works for us. We'll talk about, on that thing, he said, let's see if we could, he said this, you guys can see that hopelessly, the legacy of kings, right? And let's see if this works out well. All right. So this is, and again, like I said, I've got so much content throwing at you, but again, it all fits, okay? So the legacy of kings. It's broken bloodlines and the myth of elite offspring, okay? This is where, again, having children is the business of kings, right? Kind of crazy. Just give me 1 second here. All right. So apparently, having children is the business of kings. Again, if you look at on that clip, that's what Andrew Tate says, right? So him, people like him, even Elon Musk, right? So just think, if you're rich, if you're powerful, if you've got a few private jets, and a jawline maybe, you must also have that superior DNA now, right? Get over yourself, guys. This is the kind of delusion that built broken empires. I mean, seriously, that's what happened a long time ago, okay? Emperors, Moguls, right? They all thought, what did they do? They all thought that, just because, again, they're successful, they all thought that their seed was literally holy water, okay? Seriously, that's what all these people think. It's crazy. They must think that, again, that they have superior DNA. Okay, this is the delusion that I was talking about. Okay, but you know what? Look at through history. Go back. They're built on broken empires. Okay, kings, emperors, moguls. They all thought they could upgrade humanity again by spreading their seed like it was like I said, holy water. And what did we get? Dynasties full of dysfunction. Entitled offspring, wars started over literally playground drama. So Elon Musk is out there doing it right now. I don't know how many kids he's got. He's popping out kids like, he's coding brilliance into existence. But here's the thing that nobody says. They probably think about it. And by the way, I've scanned Elon Musk's kids. From what I see, they're not so fantastic. They're struggling, they're fragmented, they're glitched out. Because, well, DNA just doesn't work like that. You don't pass down genius through wealth or tech shares. You really don't. You pass them through coherence, through presence, through the evolution of intelligence, not the inflation of ego. If you don't believe me, look throughout history. Marcus Aurelius, right? Fantastic. He was a legendary philosopher king. Guess what his son was? A walking cautionary tale. Look at today's billionaires and world leaders. Their kids are just as lost as the rest. Why? Well, because being successful doesn't mean that you're encoded for legacy. It just means you learn how to play a flawed game better than most. And you know, um, there was a Joe Rogan podcast that nailed it. It says, why successful men often make the worst fathers. Well, the reason is, well, because they're too busy building an empire, but they didn't notice the implosion happening, you know, at home. And again, if you're if you're if you're and those successful men that build successful empires, if they can't duplicate it, again, if they can't duplicate it at home, then it's half-ass. It literally is half-ass. And that's so that distortion that they see in the family, again, in the future, the successes that they build will be in, say, society as well. Okay, so if you're a leader, if you're not having the best home life, and there's a lot of people that I work on, by the way, that are, you know, again, they're highly successful in their realm, very, very wealthy, but again, they come to me to go, okay, I want to evolve properly. I want to evolve where I can leave a legacy where it's just not money. I want to understand what it is really, what life is really about, so I can pass that on to my kids. Okay? So again, you got to ask, are you creating a legacy, or are you just recycling ego? Okay? Because if you're not raising your XIQ before you raise your kids, and by the way, I'm not just talking about highly intelligent men. I look at society and I'm going, fuck, that's some messed up people there, right? You walk through. How many of you have evolved, have raised your XIQ? And again, you're not criticizing those individuals, but basically it's like, that's where we were, guys. That's the level that we were. And it's like, damn, people need to raise their XIQ, right? Again, comment in. And once you do, and how many of you have done that, by the way, right? You raise your XIQ, you've had kids, now you've got XIQ babies, and they're fantastic. They're not generating, they're not running from your gene pool. Think of it that way. They're not running from your gene pool. They're not going to get diseased like you will. They're not going to have the same issues, whatever it is, as anybody else, right? Because they've evolved. So here's my message to the Elons, the Andrews, and, well, every man who thinks spreading the seed is an act of genius. Again, raise your XIQ. Again, then have kids. Because if you don't, you're just literally passing down trauma with a better wardrobe, right? So you want to father evolve children. Again, evolve first. All of you. You want your kids to build worlds, then master your own timeline. Not just your stock portfolio or whatever you think is successful. Okay? You want to pass down brilliance, then embody it. Because this whole idea that kings made great fathers, fuck, that's a fantasy written by kings just to justify their dysfunction. It really is. So real legacy, again, isn't about many children, how many children you can produce. It's about how many timelines you can elevate. Literally. It's about coding the next generation, not with your wealth, but with your presence, with your coherence, with your exponential intelligence. Okay? All right. So this really reminds me of those individuals that, you know, brought in illegal aliens because they wanted to boost up their voter base. You know, families just want to have kids just so their name is a legacy, and it goes on. Again, you can't do that. You can't do that to evolve society. Okay, so Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, and all those individuals, they're just showing the discrepancies that, again, most of society runs by. I'm not just pointing fingers at them, guys, but everybody, right? Just don't have kids to have kids. Evolve your exponential intelligence quotient and then move on, right? Have kids, and then they won't carry the burdens of the future. Hence the reason why this MOS Sunday is around. All right. So again, guys, we've got so much to talk about. We'll talk about the acceleration of consciousness. I was going to talk about the Trump tariffs as well, but I don't think we've got time for that. So the acceleration of human evolution. Let me change the slide up here for you, guys. Yeah, human evolution. Okay, this is what what we're talking about. Again, human evolution. All right. So from millennia to moments. Okay, so this is what's happening. Okay, why change is no longer an option. It's a survival mechanism, and this is what's happening. This is what this whole thing is about. Okay, so what if I told you that the next evolution of humanity isn't coming in 1,000 years or even 100? It's happening now. Okay? If you're not upgrading, you're already falling behind. Okay? So humanity is at a breaking point. This is what's happening. Every time we've reached one of these inflection points in history, the ones who adapted survived. The rest fade into extinction. Your body, the biological model is literally outdated. We're still running on a system, again, an operating system that was designed for the Stone Age. So you think stress, fatigue, disease are just part of life. No, they're not. They literally are. They're part of an obsolete human operating system because we're not evolving. Right? We're recycling. Your mind, it's been programmed to operate at, well, what they say, 10% of its actual capacity. Why? Because intelligent human, one who truly thinks beyond the system, is a threat to control structure. So think of it. It's a great way to control you, keep you outdated, right? Your intelligence. The biggest lie you've been told is that your intelligence is fixed. It's hard-coded. But here's the truth. Natural intelligence is fluid. If you connect to natural intelligence, what we're running on is not natural intelligence, right? What AI is running on is not natural intelligence. So natural intelligence is fluid. It's adaptable. It's expandable. But only if you know how to access it. And again, the elite or maybe the deep state might know this, and they're already investing in intelligence enhancement. But again, AI, quantum computing, genetic upgrades, but they're doing it all wrong. Again, they're doing it half-ass. So here's the catch. Artificial intelligence will never surpass natural intelligence. Not if we understand how to activate the intelligence already within us, right? And this is where XI begins to change everything. This isn't just about learning faster or thinking clearer. This is about evolving into a new version of you. One that isn't bound by outdated biological, cultural, or technical limitations. Because if you don't evolve, you're already obsolete. Okay? Think of it. You are running your parents, your grandparents' patterns. What does that mean? You're running an old system. Right? That won't work anymore. In today's society, you literally have to upgrade or you're out. You are disconnected, just like that dire wolf. You will get disconnected. You might think that, yeah, COVID, or the strange, all these deaths that's happening, right? That'll elevate. Sure, COVID could be the reason. Other things could be the reason. Rampant heart disease. I think hospital mistakes, medical mistakes are the number 2 cause of death, by the way, here in the United States, right? Again, those things won't work, okay? Think of it this way. A new consciousness is coming out, okay? The evolutionary timeline, and this is what they don't want you to know, okay? So we're told that evolution takes millions of years. That progress is really slow, okay? That intelligence is something you inherit, not something you create. That is all a lie. and we'll break it down here on Masati on Sunday. Again, Life Explained. One, biological evolution, slow, efficient, and no longer enough. Okay, so you went from Homo habilis to Homo. Where did it go? I lost my notes here. You went. It took about Homo sapiens. Sorry. It took about 1,000,000 years apart. Okay, even minor upgrades took thousands of years. But again, we don't have thousands of years. We don't even have decades. Say about it. Cultural evolution, the acceleration, and this is where it begins. Cultural evolution, 10,000 years ago, agriculture, civilizations form. 5,000 years ago, writing, again, 5,000 years, guys, writing, mathematics, governments. That was 5,000 years ago, okay? Not a long time, again, and we're doing it half-assed, and we're recreating from the past. 500 years ago, the scientific revolution. 50 years ago, the digital revolution. Look how fast. Do you see the patterns? The time between versions are literally shrinking. They're getting smaller and smaller. Here's the hidden truth. Advanced civilizations knew this. Right? Again, it doesn't take that intelligence, again, was from a long time ago. They tell us human intelligence is linear. That we've been progressing steadily from cave dwellers to the modern era. Okay? And this is where a lot of situations are. If you look at, if you watch, I think Ancient Apocalypse, crazy stuff, right? But again, so if that's true, explain this: the pyramids of Egypt. Right? Look at the amazing technologies. Again, the pyramids of Egypt, they were built. Yeah, they were built. The pyramids of Egypt were built. Well, they were built with precision. I was there just a few months ago. They were built with precision. The amazing technology. I mean, the granite tombs and all that. I would call them, embryonic centers, really. Okay, we still can't replicate that technology, and they say that we are evolving linearly. Okay, the ancient Vedic text, by the way, it describes quantum physics the way XI does, by the way, thousands of years before modern science did. Kind of crazy, right? The Mesoamerican knowledge of astronomy. That what they did was, I believe they don't quote me on this, but I think they mapped out this the star system without telescopes. So these civilizations, they weren't primitive. They were accessing something that we've forgotten. It's a level of intelligence beyond technology, beyond time. Think of it. Look at all the crazy stuff that's coming out. Okay? So again, evolution is not linear, and that's what this Masati on Sunday is about. It's not about linear. XI taps into that same intelligence. You don't need machines to evolve. You really don't. You don't need AI to think for you. All you need to do is activate the intelligence already embedded within your cellular system, because natural intelligence is the real power source. Okay? Got just a little more time. We'll go a little deeper into it. Okay, and this is what I'm telling you about. This is why I brought up Andrew Tate, Elon Musk again. Elon is doing a fantastic job, bringing out all the bullshit in government, because we all wanted smaller government, right? We all wanted less spending. We all wanted less taxes. Well, that's the way to do it. There's a lot of pain in that, because again, evolving the proper way, getting rid of the half that isn't functional, that hurts. Okay? So again, why these avatars for 2025 and beyond will fail. Right? So you've been given a role to play in society. You have been trained to become an avatar. Just literally predictable, controlled a version of yourself that keeps the system running. Have you ever thought of it that way? Think of it. That's what they want you to produce. That's what they want you to be. But those avatars, they won't survive what's coming. The elite and high performance avatar, why high performance is, well, it's no longer, it's just, it's just, it's just, it's, it's no longer out there for you. It's no longer enough. Okay, so you've mastered the hustle. You've optimized productivity. You're outworking everyone. But just think of it: working harder is outdated. AI doesn't get tired. Look at all the jobs it replaces. Machines don't burn out. The next elite won't be the ones grinding. It'll be the ones who have elevated their intelligence beyond competition. Think of it. XI doesn't make you work harder. It makes you work from a different level of intelligence. And that's really the key. Let's take a deep breath in. So again, instead of burning yourself out, you learn to bend time itself. This is where you can achieve more with less effort and more precision. You know, the consciousness seeker avatar? Why traditional spirituality? Because again, a lot of people are going all over the place. Well, they're failing too. You've meditated, you've read the books, you've done the work, but hell, let's just be honest. Has it truly evolved you or just made you more aware of your limitations? The old spiritual model is like trying to run a modern operating system on a 90s computer. It's slow, it's inefficient, and again, it's going to be full of glitches. XI isn't about belief, it's about activation. So instead of chasing enlightenment, again, you become the living embodiment of intelligence itself. Again, it's not about transcending the world, it's about mastering it. And here's the deal too, the science and tech avatar, and then I'll get into working on you all, scanning you, see where your glitches are, see if you're running from an old operating system or the current version. Okay? Because again, if you're running from an old operating system, or most of you, if say like over 50% of your ideologies of who you are is running from an old operating system, then it's going to be a tough time for you. It literally is. Okay? The scientist and tech avatars, again, why conventional science is at a standstill. Science is still running into walls. Quantum mechanics and AI are proving that, well, we don't understand reality at all. Think of it. Look at all the things that they've thought were real and it wasn't. Right? The biggest minds in physics are admitting that consciousness may be a missing piece in quantum computing. By the way, XI is that missing piece. But what if human intelligence could sync with quantum systems like we're supposed to? We had free will to disconnect so we can understand who we are. Now we can reconnect. We're at that level of intelligence if we allow it. What if the observer effect wasn't just a theory, but again, a tool we could harness? Spatial referencing. That's what observer effect is. Again, the old ways, whether it's a hustle culture, traditional spirituality, or just basic rigid science, they won't work in 2025 and beyond. Because the next evolution of humanity isn't about playing an existing role. Right? It's about becoming the creator of your own reality. And XI, literally, XI is the only system designed to activate that next version of you. Right? So again, I'm calling all those people out. If you really want them to go with you, right, tell your friends about XI. Right? Simply, what I do, a lot of people, I put it out there. I think, let me see if I can get that for you. So, because, you go, here it is. Thanks. All right. So I wrote this for you guys. Okay. And again, if you can put that on the chat, guys. So what does Masati do? Because, people come up to our clients and they go, gosh, you know what have you done with yourself? It's like, oh, I work with this guy named Masati with an XI. It's like, what the hell? And then you try to explain it, right? And then it doesn't work out. So this is what I do. I'm just going to read it for you, okay? So what I do is help people unlock the intelligence you were born with, okay? But forgot. It's called XI. Again, so this is all you have to do. It's called exponential intelligence, or XI. It's not therapy. It's not spirituality. It's more like turning your entire system into its original optimal frequency. So when that happens, your body heals, your mind clears, and your life transforms naturally. You start aging younger, making better decisions, and living from a place of deep power and peace. It's like remembering how to be the real you before the world told you who to be, before your parents told you who to be. Again, XI literally just brings it back. So Feifei, if you can just put that in the comments, that'd be really fantastic. All right. Let's get into if you want to scan me, I'll tell you, where your glitch is, where you're going backwards, or where you're referencing. All right. Permission, please scan. This is it Natalia Warmbecker? All right. So Natalia, where you are, which is really fantastic. I'm looking at this other comment before it removes spatial referencing. Guys, it's better than psychotic drugs and all those things that billions of people are taking to stay, stable. It doesn't keep you stable. But back to Natalia or Natalie, whichever way. All right. So what you are doing, you're really, really fantastic. You are starting to break away from the old systems that controlled you. They're literally, you feel like if you didn't do XI, you would get more and more and more and more compressed. And basically, you would just be in a straitjacket. And then by the time, you're in your late 50s, I would say, 40s, late 40s, 50s, you're just like, shit, what the hell happened? Because you've always trying to break free from your life. Again, you have always tried to break free from your life, but XI has allowed you to break free. And what you're doing, just like most people, just to explain the logistics of all what happens. Say you're running from, great grandma's beautiful blue eyes. Okay? That is not your blue eyes. What you're doing, again, if you're mapping consciousness out, grandma's consciousness and maybe whoever she got her beautiful blue eyes from, okay, is way back in, say, in the 1800s. Okay? What you are doing, again, this isn't about you, Natalia, but this is what you, say, suffered from before XI. You basically are going, oh, because even your body, from what I'm seeing, Natalie or Natalia, either way, was somebody else's body. How many of you have gone through that? It's like you start to do XI. By the way, tomorrow, peak performance, guys, highly recommend. If the team could put the link on there, peak performance. It's a 10-day activation that'll get you just like off and running into that state of consciousness where you can tap into that natural intelligence, the same intelligence that the pyramids were built by. Okay, that same intelligence you can activate. Okay, because again, pushing your body harder, all those things, it's not going to work out. Right? Have you ever noticed, like Muhammad Ali, all those great individuals, they sit and meditate? Well, Muhammad Ali used to pray, but they got into that zone. Like great kung fu masters, Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee, all those individuals, what did they tap into? Again, they settled in the mind. What we do is just push and push and push our body. It's not going to work out anymore. That's the old state. That's the old avatar. This is why I made peak performance, to help you tap into your natural intelligence so your body doesn't destroy as you ascend to, say, greatness. Right? So again, your body, your mind, intelligence. So highly recommend doing peak performance. All right, back to grandma's blue eyes. All right, so here's the deal. You have grandma's beautiful blue eyes. Okay, so since it's not your consciousness operating system, what you're doing is like you're going back in time to the 1800s, okay, accessing her code and then bringing it forward into your identity, your physical form. That's a long way back to come back forward. Okay? By the way, it's not just grandma's beautiful blue eyes. her maybe abusive relationships with her spouse, um, all the other things that she went through, okay, all the things that she suffered through to bring you into this time, right? All those things you're bringing back with it as well, not just her blue eyes. Because in evolution, nature just disconnects. It's like, oh, grandma's beautiful blue eyes, we'll take that. We won't take the rest. And then that's the way it should evolve. But we don't do that. So we just keep locking back into the future. XI literally allows to allow, say, again, a person to go, oh, I love grandma's blue eyes. I don't like anything else. I'll make those blue eyes myself. And you transport or you duplicate the grandma's beautiful blue eyes into your consciousness. That's what I help you do when you do sessions with me, or again, even uh, the 10-day that's happening, peak performance that's happening. Okay, all right. This one, Momina Safi. Hi, Mouse. I'm going to Mecca. Would love a scan. Wow. Yeah. So, so a lot of people go back to their heritage. They go back to their roots. Again, I'm not saying Islam is bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying any religion. Again, all religions are doing it half-assed. That's why it's not good. Right? Again, all religions in this case are doing it half-assed. Okay? If you're not getting the same results in this case as a Muhammad, you're probably doing it wrong. Okay? All right. So when you're going to go to Mecca, all right, what you're going to see, this is much like, hey, Masati, I've changed my identity so much with XI. I'm going to go visit the family. And then when you go visit the family, or when you go visit Mecca, you'll go, oh my God, they're running an old version of Islam. They're not running an updated version of Islam. Right? Again, and then so you'll go there, you'll do the things, and it's like, holy hell, shit, Muhammad didn't say that. So you, Momina, will go, you'll be better than, what do they call that, the mullahs that are there. And you go, Muhammad didn't mean that. That's bullshit, right? Because again, that's only half-assed. They didn't understand it. They didn't have XI. So you're going to go there and go, oh, that's wrong. They're doing that wrong. They're doing that wrong. Maybe they're doing it right. And then you'll understand the true purpose of walking around, whatever the big box, the Kaaba, I think, okay? The true purpose. By the way, in the pyramids, they would walk around the pyramids 7 times. Islam, they walk around this Kaaba, or basically, I would think of it as a meteorite that fell from the heavens, and then they put a spiritual or a religious meaning on it. So, no offense. Again, I love Islam. I love all religions, but you don't want to do those things half-assed. Okay? So that's where you're going to be. So congratulations, by the way. This is what you're going to understand Islam from a very different level, XI Islam, and then you're going to go, oh my God, this is what Islam is really about. Okay? If you're a Christian, right? And in today's world, that's wrong. This religion is right. But then all religions say it. But then if you look at anybody practicing all those religions, they're all fucked up. Again, because they're doing it half-assed. It's like, so they're all wrong because they're half-assed. Right? You need to be perfect in today's society, or close to. So if you're Christian, you do XI. If you're a Jewish, you do XI. If you're spiritual, you do XI. If you're Burning Man, you do XI, and you get a better version of what the true purpose of all those things were. Okay? It's not about separating. It's about understanding the true purpose of what they meant, and then going, oh, I understand. And then you bring that forward. But what we do is we bring all the bullshit that they didn't understand forward. Okay? All right. So this is CP. Again, my abilities have really skyrocketed. If you're new to me, I don't need your address. I don't need your face. I don't need your real name. So CP, if I scan you, again, that's all I've got to go. Hi, Masati, please scan me and my niece. Okay, so again, comment in. So you and your niece are literally one and the same. she's basically, it's almost like she's a cookie cutter of you. Okay, so what that means is, say that something happened to you at 12, and your niece turns 12. I don't know how old you are. I'm just giving you an example. Your niece turns 12. Similar things will happen to you. Maybe in another time frame. Okay, like again, if you're running grandma's patterns and grandma, something happened. She had to lose a child at 20, and then you have grandma's beautiful blue eyes. Well, you probably would lose a child at 20 for some reason, through abortion or anything else. But again, that command dictates that it flourish. So you and your niece are the same, but you and your niece are like separate from, you're very, very different than your family dynamics. You're starting to see, it's like, shit, your family. And basically your family, I hate to say it this way, sweetie, but it almost like eats upon themselves. Okay? Because they didn't learn how to evolve properly. So what your family does is literally, it's like you try to crawl out of that hole, and basically it's like you're not going anywhere, and then they just pull you down. Because if you go higher than them, if you succeed, if you become a better person, well, think of it, you're equal plane right now. Okay, it's just a pecking order. You're equal plane right now, and then what happens? You evolve. How many of you have done this, by the way? You've evolved, and your family just tries to go, what the hell? You should be down here. You should be suffering, and they just pull you back down. You don't want to do that, guys, right? So this is what you're going through, honey. So what I'm helping you with, not just tell you your patterns, but giving you the strength, rocket fuel to go, hell, I need to disconnect from that, from that, from that, again, and removing guilt or redefining guilt the way they should be. As a note, I'm finally writing my book. It's called The Lexicon of Power. Your words are the most powerful things you can use. If you have ill definitions or half-assed definitions on the words that you use, okay, like for example, you, CP, guilt, shame, always pulls you down. Guilt and shame isn't supposed to pull you down. Guilt and shame is go, God, you know what? There's a better version of me out there. It would be shameful for me to stay here. And then you just skyrocket out of that hole. It literally is a hole. It's not even a rut. It's a hole that your family has gone into. Okay. Most guilt and shame, what happens? It's like, hey, what? You need to suffer just like we did, and they'll pull you down, or you'll get pulled down. Again, it's totally the opposite on what the definition of guilt and shame is. It's first principle definitions, and that's what the whole book is about. 50 key words that people use: love, honor, guilt. What else was there? There's so many out there. Wealth, forgiveness. Forgiveness is huge, by the way. Helping people, being kind. Okay. All right. This one, say yes. Hey, Moss, can you scan me, please? Yes, I can. So you are starting to see, you're starting to realize, this is really, really cool. So what you're doing is you're an observer of human consciousness, or you're an observer of the human mastermind. So a mastermind, basically 2 or more individuals get together, get connected. And we talk about this in peak performance, by the way. Again, which starts tomorrow. So what you do is like, whatever happens to the mastermind, that mastermind dictates who you are. Okay? And you think, I'm different. Andrew Tate thinks, shit, I'm different. And all those people. You're no different. You're literally a non-playable, NPC, non-playable character, Andrew. Okay? You're just playing that guy that's rich and has a lot of women. Okay? It has been. People have done that over and over again. Women don't like it. Right? That's why you can't hold on to a woman. I don't know why I'm going back to Andrew Tate. But back to you, say yes. So what you're doing, by the way, that's why. So what you're doing, you have become an observer. You have moved yourself out of that mastermind, human consciousness, and you ride above what most people are going. So they're at 0 level consciousness. You're a bit higher, not at 1 because you wouldn't be here, but you're rising to that next level. Okay, and as someone is in my yard. Interesting. Anyway, so as you go to the next level, what'll happen is that you become an observer, and you don't look down, but you're just looking. It's like, that's not right. Just like that person who's going to Mecca, and you're going, that's fucked up. Oh, and you'll see the Andrew Tate type. Oh, that's why. So you'll start to see the Andrew type patterns that you might have been associated to, or connected to, or maybe controlled in that way. Maybe your father, basically thinking that women were just like property, basically. So again, you're observing, you're getting rid of all that bullshit. I'm helping you with that. So again, take a breath in, say yes, and again, say yes to those things that will help evolve your consciousness to be a pure, better version of yourself. Okay. All right. One more. This is it Pavi? It's print is so small. Pavi XI feminine. Yes. So scan my progress, please. So again, you are disconnecting from your culture. By the way, a lot of like if you're Italian, if you're Russian, shit, even my culture, even Chinese, it's like they run from an old consciousness. They literally run from an old consciousness back here, right? And then they bring that forward, okay? And that's that's what's gone with you. Is it Pavi? I think. Yeah. It's just there's so many people chiming in. So what happens is like you're trying to be yourself, but you're limited by, again, an old version of an operating system. Okay? That's what's wrong with most of society. They try to be a better version. The Italians, the Russians, the Jews, the Middle Easterns, the Chinese. Again, all those individuals, right? They literally go, here, take this, turn it into something new. And you put your new technology on it, you put your new sciences on it, you put your new ways, whatever on it, and run with it. And this is where, like in the Chinese, they take a breath in, Pavi. I'm working on your lungs, by the way. Not a doctor or anything, but this is you're getting rid of, say, the burdens, or you might actually have somebody passed away with lung issues or circulation issues. You don't have to have that, by the way. Okay? So what you're doing at this level, you not only have moved out from, say, your cultural patterns. Again, there's nothing wrong with culture, but if you're doing it half-assed, it's not going to work out for you, right? So in this case, you're pulling away from your cultural patterns and then really embracing the beautiful patterns of your culture, the beautiful patterns of your family, and then embracing that instead of the whole garbage. So again, the half that isn't working out, you've deleted that. Now you're running on your own. You're just kind of a bit lost. So in this case, you're lost because you have a clean slate. Think of it that way, hon. Okay. So don't go backwards. Do not go backwards. A lot of you have cleaned up. You have a clean slate with XI, guys. Do not go backwards. Always look backwards and go, okay, that's where I'm going away from. What is my future looking like? What's a better version for me in the future? So you can look backwards as a reference to go, shit, I don't want that. Okay? Again, put that behind your mind. We teach all this on the XI code to peak performance. It's like spatial referencing to get what you want. Okay? To get what you need and want. Those two merge. But most people, they want something, but it's not what they need. In XI, you want the same thing you need. It's quite amazing. Okay, this is where a lot of people, it's like, shit, I spent 20 years going to medical school, and fuck, I hate it. Because you thought, this is where the old culture patterns, your parents forced you to go to medical school, go to some whatever. How many people have done that? And then you did it just to make them happy, and it's like, I'm not happy. Well, you just recreated that pattern, by the way, right? Your parents weren't happy, and then you think it's medical school or a technology degree that's not making you happy. No, it's not the technology. You're running an old version of yourself. Again, not you, with new technology, and it's an outside source. Okay? All right, guys, we could move on and on. Thanks for helping going through the glitches here, guys. Hopefully next week, Alex will be coming back to run all the systems. All right, a lot of great things happening, guys. So stay tuned. Sign up for this channel, XI, and also if you can sign up for the XI code. I'm going to be putting more and more science, XI meta science, on how all this stuff works. Okay, so the science behind what I talk about. That's my new channel. And it's called the XI Code. Okay, the xicode.com is the website again. So please subscribe to that. We'll post more and more things because I want to separate the say the effects, okay, or the causes of what's happening, and then say the science behind what's happening or the frequency behind what's happening. So those are the two channels that we'll have on there. So again, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Thumbs up, and then also subscribe to the XI Code. All right, guys. As we end, notice what you notice. Notice the details of what you're noticing.